Hello, this is Ralph Carter, and I'm your moderator for this wonderful dialogue and symposium on the Black arts movement from the 1960s till the present. The theme is finding identity in the midst of artistic and political upheaval. We have a wonderful, illustrious panel. Please sit back, enjoy, and receive. Thank you, National Black Theater.
So that there's a full perspective. You can't take the arts outside of the culture as a whole. And then in spite of all of the sorrowful things that I'm saying right now, they must know that they still come from a God that loves them so badly and so desperately and dying to walk and talk with you. So I came to the garden alone with the dew that was still upon the roses. And he walks with me and he talks with me and tells me I am his own.
For those who are interested in asking questions, the floor is open. Ms. Jade?
I have a question about dealing with economics. So when my mom decided to buy this city block, Barbara is my mother, she decided to create a model that was could not be affected by politics. So as the distinguished panel was talking about when Nixon came in, so she created a model where the commercial real estate would subsidize the art. So we were not slaves to a system, and that we could create the kind of art that we wanted our people to experience, participate in.
An institution represents power. An institution represents those three areas that Dr. J talked about. When you have an institution, you can make things happen. All of these youth, they have a place, and you've done some tremendous things over the years with the youth. So institutions terrifies the oppressor. Going forward, there are institutions. This is one, the Dwyer Culture Center, of which I'm one of the founders, is another. So we, slowly but surely, we are developing spaces. We are taking control of spaces. So, but again, these things don't exist in a vacuum. You have to support. We have to all leave here today with an understanding that the same way that we put money out to do this and do that, we must begin to put money into these institutes. That is the only way that we're going to keep the progress going, because we are progressing forward. To keep that momentum means that we got to infuse dollars into that. I'll turn the floor over to you, Dr.
Well, clearly, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. And so many of us are in a situation where we haven't been able to get things. So we have this desire to immediately get things without a plan. We have this desire to show what we've achieved without saving it. So we'll have the big cars, we'll have the jewelry, etc., and we won't have any savings. So when things change, you want to start to build something, you've got to pawn what you've got instead of going into the money that you've saved. So we have to have a science of generating wealth, saving wealth, planning to regenerate wealth. And that's what we have to contribute. You couldn't build pyramids, you can't build great cities, you can't do the things that our people did if you didn't have a science of how you accumulate and how you make that accumulation work for you.
Any other questions, please? Yes, dear.
I just wanted to thank you all. I'm Kathy House, and I'm visiting from Detroit by way of Chicago. Dr. Harold Pates and his wife Cindy Love. And we're in Detroit at home. We needed the energy to take back. We need the love and the focus to do some work that needs to be done in Detroit. We want all you guys to pray for Detroit because we're under takeovers.
Yes.
And there are a few of us standing firm, but we need a collective group. So send your energy. If you have any relatives in Detroit, keep in touch. We need to get you guys back. And I'm just so overwhelmed about it because I've been working with 3 schools in Harlem, and one of the schools had an F last year. And it's really been hurting me very much because I know that that's not what our children need. They need to have quality education. They need to have arts. They need to have
a good sense of art, culture, African culture, dance, drumming, and see themselves in the culture. And we don't have resources now to do that.
Let me just, I'd like to just say this, because this is a big issue.
It's a big
Schools.
The schools.
Whenever there is shortage, whether contrived or real, because some of it is contrived,
No money.
whenever there's budget cuts, one of the first things they do is cut to arts and culture.
Yes.
That's a strategic plan. When a child learns music, learns dance, studies literature, studies painting, statistics show that that young person is less likely to get in trouble with the law, has a positive outlook, is less violent. So it is imperative for us to make sure that we relate to our relatives, to our colleagues, of the importance of staying active in those schools. The parent groups must be active, and you must lobby our quote-unquote politicians, I'm putting that in quotations, leaders, again in quotations.
And we'll keep that invitation open to
all right, to
Councilman
make
Barron.
sure that they do not allow these cuts to fall on the backs of those children by taking away arts and culture and expression, creative expression.
Ones like me and kids like my nephew coming up, we've done a disservice to a point to them that's coming behind us because they so like clueless and ignorant about stuff. And my nephew was like, Roots, what is that? Oh my goodness, the teacher is making us watch Roots. And I'm like, okay, well, read the book. So I was in Target and I saw they had like the 30th anniversary of like Roots. I was like, oh yes, because I'm like a civil rights, I'm like, oh yes. And it just did something to him. And if my nephew was close by, I just wish he'd have been closer. I would have probably dragged him, he'd have been kicking and screaming, coming here. But I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.